I wanted to be at Texas State. I chose to be at Texas State. I'm from Texas. That was important to me. I always knew if the right guy got this job, you better watch out.
You better watch out. This is Win Now or Get Bent, episode 203. If you don't already know, I'm Kep Chardello, coming to you on Monday, September 1st, and the Bobcats are 1-0. Big win for Texas State on Saturday, taking down Eastern Michigan 52-27, 606 total yards of offense, 7 touchdowns. What a way to open the season. What an atmosphere, too, at UFCU Stadium. There were so many new things. Speakers specifically stands out to me. What a game changer that was that we will definitely go over. We will talk about that game on this episode, talk about the atmosphere a little bit, and then before I send you off, I'll do a little bit of a Sun Belt rundown. I know all of you out there are feeling good. That 1-0 feeling feels good. 4 years in a row, Texas State's had that 1-0 feeling. And it's a nice, when you wake up on Sunday morning and it's just so euphoric. You're sipping your coffee, thinking about all the prospects ahead. And then you think a little further ahead and you're like, oh yeah, that's right. UTSA is this week. Oh, big one at the Alamo Dome on Saturday. This week, the Roadrunners. We're going to have lots of great stuff for you this week on Win Now or Get Bent leading into that one. But before we get there, this episode is brought to you by the Galindo Collective, TGC LLC, the Galindo Collective.com, a team of professional consultants dedicated to helping others realize their business potential through people, planning, and practice. Their services cover a wide range of areas such as business strategy, marketing, human resources, and financial planning. If you own property or business and want to maximize its profitability, contact TGC at thegalindocollective.com and follow their social media platforms on Twitter at TGC_LLC and on Instagram and Facebook at the Galindo Collective. Shout out to my guy Rick Galindo, a true Texas State sicko, a Texas State grad. This is the 3rd season the Galindo Collective is teaming up with Win Now or Get Bent, and it's also the 2nd season that they are offering tickets for our TGC ticket giveaway. Last week, Pat Gilbreth won. He's sitting up there in the club section. He had the pavilion passes. He had the parking pass. He was living it up. So make sure you're subscribed and following us so that you can enter that TGC ticket giveaway at every Texas State home game. But in the meantime, for all your business consulting needs, please hit up the Galindo Collective at GALINDO, thegalindocollective.com. Shout out to the Galindo Collective, TGC LLC. My guy, Rick. If you're watching on YouTube, our YouTube channel, Win Now or Get Bent on YouTube, like, subscribe, comment, all that great stuff. You can see me wearing the Cats by 90 hat from Been Having It Hats. BHIHats.com. They have this sweet Cats by 90 hat. Actually, this exact one is sold out thanks to you sickos getting in there. But they still have other maroon looks, a maroon Cats by 90 hat with the rope, 3D embroidery, and state rope hat script with 3D embroidery on that as well. You can check it out on the YouTube channel. It's a good-looking hat, high-quality hats. And when you punch in WNOGB at checkout, you get 10% off. So hit them up, everybody. BHIHats.com. Shout out to my guy, Nick Gates. It's my buddy over there. I know he's running it with 2 other Bobcats. All our sponsors are Bobcat-owned at this time, including BHIHats.com. All right, let's get to these Bobcats, huh? Bobcats beat Eastern Michigan. They avenged that loss. When was that? 2021. They lost to them pretty. It was like 59-21, something like that. Bobcats avenged that one from back in that year, that one of those many forgotten years during the bad time between 2015 to 2022. Nice to right that wrong. Shout out to my guy Dylan Crane, sitting front row, giving lots of shout outs to me and the Wizard. That was fantastic, making us feel good. We took a picture with each other. I know, Dylan, you're always commenting on the YouTube channel, so it's awesome to meet you. You're as cool as I envisioned, so awesome. Thanks for giving us a shout. Mike McDaniel, I ran into Mike as well. Second time I run into him, ran into him in the bowl game. Last time I saw him and his buddy Reagan Koning. I hope I'm saying your name right. I've definitely seen you on Twitter before, man. They were out there. My guy Mike had a sweet Texas State hat on. Reagan had a cowboy hat on. They were ready to go. They were ready for the day. So great to run into you sickos. Big apology to the Scout Tailgate I actually did make it out this time. Oh, season openers are always kind of crazy, so I kind of got pulled in a bunch of different directions. But Nichols, September 20th, I'll be there. I'm going to go to that Scout Tailgate. Come hang out. Go see my guy Michael Clements at Austin Patchmaster, too. But great stuff. It was great seeing a lot of y'all. I'll talk a little bit about the atmosphere before the game. I won't stay too long on it because we got a game to talk about. But the atmosphere was just incredible, and I just feel I have to note it. Apparently, so many things were incredible because I've heard from a lot of y'all that the broadcast was awesome as well. The ESPN Plus broadcast. I know Brant Freeman and those guys, they work so hard on those broadcasts. It's come a long way. So it's great to hear from a lot of you that it was great. At the game, new speakers they unveiled. The audio has been an issue at UFCU Stadium, even going back to when it was Bobcat Stadium for years and years. I mean, that's probably one of the oldest complaints I can remember about that stadium, even before they turned it into a horseshoe and it was just two bleachers on either side of the field. It was still then audio was an issue then. So it's nice to have that fixed. You see them 20-foot speakers right by the south end zone complex. They are very loud. Big old Super Cat tarp over them too. Looks cool. I like I like that look. Two big speakers. They're surrounding that party pavilion, whatever you call that, on top of the south end zone complex. I don't know if it has a name. It might have an official name. It's the party porch for now. How about that? I like that one better, party porch. But just to have those two giant speakers blaring right by there and the two screens right there, UFCU Stadium is just looking fantastic. And of course, they did the drone show. I mean, it's not the first time they've done a drone show, but this one was just a little more special because it was celebrating the Pac-12 and the Bobcats going to it. It was incredible. I put it on Twitter. I'm sure a lot of you have seen it. It's all over social media. I put it on TikTok as well. TikTok made me nerf the music that was there in the stadium. So, when you venture onto these other social media channels, you learn things. You're like, oh, okay, I have to mute this because that music might be copyrighted. But yeah, that drone show was incredible. I loved when it was Dr. Kelly Damphus. Had him represented in drone form, riding a motorcycle from Texas with his wife Beth Damphus on the back, driving from Texas to California to signify the West Coast move. And I felt that was very fitting for him to be displayed up there as well, because obviously so many people at Texas State went into working hard to elevate Texas State, specifically over the last couple years, to really elevate this place. But he's been the catalyst since he got here. He's galvanized this place. He has invigorated everybody, including those who, not just fans, but people who work around the athletics department. And you can just see the difference in Texas State. I feel like I've said it before, and I'll say it again because I truly mean it. This place needed a superhero, and Dr. Kelly Damphus put on his cape. He swooped in and he saved this place. It needed sports. It needed sports to do well so that everybody could get their eyes on Texas State and realize this is a quality university. Because unfortunately, that's how it goes. People will see a bad sports team and they'll hang that on the university itself. But when you show success on TV all across the nation that this is a burgeoning program, it just does so much for this university. So thank you so much to Dr. Kelly Damphus, and everybody works hard. Don Coryell, the AD, so many people there are just really busting their hump, and they are growing this place. I think it's funny when I posted the drone show, and I saw, usually it's always salty Arkansas State people, because Dr. Damphus used to be the chancellor in Jonesboro at Arkansas State, and they always have a comment about how he's just too in front of everything. He's too extra. He's just all around. But that's what was needed. It needed a leader to get out in front of it and to build up support for this place. So yeah, if that's the biggest critique on the school president, that he does too much, that he's too extra. Extra is great. Extra means more. That's fantastic. I mean, it's progress. Like getting in the way of it with comments like that. They're just salty. But anyways, I said I would make that short and I didn't. But shout out to Dr. Kelly Damphus. I'm just filled with a lot of pride seeing how far this place has come. Since 2008, I started back in the Southland days for Texas State, and it's come so far in that time. 21,000 fans. We got to get those numbers up. That wasn't enough. There was about 10,000 students So that's about 11,000 of you graduated sickos. We got to get more of you out there if you can. I get it. It's first game of the season. There's a lot of other good ones on the docket, but we got to get out there. Higher numbers for Nichols than 21. We can do it. I believe in you. Believe in you, Bobcats. All right, but let's get to the game. And another thing, Dr. Dampus, he rode the motorcycle out this game. Are the Bobcats undefeated when he does that? I remember UTSA last year, they got the win. So I think it's the 4th time he's done it. So that's something we gotta check out. But all right, let's talk about this game. 52 to 27. I wrote 52 to 17 in my notes. 52 to 27, mainly because there's 10 of them in garbage time. Look at that touchdown in the last minute. Come on. They kept Noah Kim in. That poor guy. They kept him in the whole game. 4 games over 40 points last year for Texas State, and just once over 50. Kind of surprising when I was looking at that. And they've already done checked off both those marks in the first game, right off the bat. They've already got 1 over 40 again. And they've got 1 over 50. 606 total yards, like I was saying at the top. 392 of those were rushing on the ground, 4th most in the FBS era at Texas State. So going back to 2011, that's the 4th most total team output. No turnovers on offense, which was great. When it's a freshman quarterback in his first start, there was one moment he put the ball on the turf, but I'm pretty sure he jumped on it or somebody else jumped on it. It was, that was the one moment. It's like the second quarter. It's like, oh, that was a bit of a nerves moment. You could tell, man, did he settle in the second half though? And we'll talk more about Brad Jackson. But yeah, that only happened twice last year with no turnovers in a game, and they won both those. So, keeping it clean goes a long way. 24 to 17 at halftime. That's probably where I got the 17 at the top of my notes. We've seen the Bobcats jump ahead before, like they did in this game, where they scored 2 touchdowns on their first 2 drives, and we've seen them do that before. They start out hot. They come out the gate going, they'll get ahead, and then they'll kind of cool down in the second and third quarter. Most of the time they could hold off and get it together in the fourth quarter and come out with the win, but sometimes they wouldn't. They'd let them come back. I think of Sam Houston when they're up 39-21 in that one. They even had a lead in the first half that was pretty big as well. So immediately when they jump out ahead like this, I'm like, okay, I've seen this the last couple of years. What am I going to expect now? What are we going to see? Are we going to see these coaches where they have matured, where once they get to the second and third quarters, there's not a lull, there's not a halftime lull, if you will, or is it going to be the same old, where they're going to play with their food a little bit and let Eastern Michigan back into it? Not the case. It was the first one this time. They were able to capitalize on that early momentum and hang on to that lead, pound the rock mainly, really just owning the line of scrimmage. I mean, Brad Jackson had 4 touchdown passes, but 392 yards rushing. That really it made it easy. I don't want to say easy. It's never easy, but it helped out quite a bit when you have the run game, and they got to respect that. It really opens it up it takes a lot of pressure off of a young quarterback. And as great as Brad Jackson was, the first player we really, truly got to dive into talk about is Bo Sparks. Bo Sparks, Jr., Utah Tech transfer that came in before last season. We saw how spectacular he can be. One game, he had 2 80-yard punt returns against Georgia State. Valiant effort in a loss, but it's still incredible. 2 80-yard punt returns in one game. One for a touchdown, the other one he got stopped on his way to the end zone. But this one, 7 catches for 82 yards and 4 touchdowns. Touchdown receptions ties the single game record for Texas State, going back to Cameron Luke, 2007, going back before me. That's the year before I got here. I remember Cam Luke in 2008 when the Bobcats won the Southland Conference that year. Yeah, incredible player. Him and Bradley George connecting was a lot of fun. How about that? Another Brad at quarterback. I just put that together on air. Third multi-touchdown game of Bo Sparks' career. I don't know if that's at Texas State. I made that note. That was from the media relations department. Shout out to them. Great job from them on the recap and helping us out with interviews afterwards. Nice to talk to Bo Sparks after a game. Always great to get players. I know sometimes these coaches, they like to lock it in pretty good, and they don't want to have too many outside distractions specifically for players. But it is always nice to get to talk to these guys. Wide receiver 1 debate. It's still ongoing, but there's a new front runner. If you remember on the last episode, I was talking about this wide receiver one with Joey Hobart gone, Cole Wilson off to Baylor doing big things for them, Jaden Williams gone. There's a opportunity for somebody to step up and take that wide receiver one spot. I was anticipating it being Chris Don. Still very well could be. 5 catches, 50 yards for him. Only 2 receivers had catches on Saturday, which was interesting. But Bo Sparks, he came in and has taken the lead by 4 touchdowns. He's up on everybody else in that room. So shout out to Bo Sparks. I think it obviously still ongoing. I think Chris Don is still special. Saw some good things from Kylan Evans. Couldn't put together and get a catch. There was one moment he almost connected with Brad Jackson. GJ Kinney even said, imagine Brad Jackson wants that pass back. It looks like it would have been a touchdown. But you can kind of see what they're thinking with him in that back corner end zone using that 6'2" height. But Bo Sparks, I mean, man, incredible stuff by Bo. Exciting for the future going forward with Brad Jackson. You know, you anticipate he's a junior, so maybe the next 2 years he could really have a special security blanket that you can always rely on and hit the ball with. But the pass game, it was really set up by the run game. The Bobcats, they dominated on the ground. They dominated the line of scrimmage. They got whatever they wanted on the ground. Lincoln Perry, 167 yards, 13.9 yards per carry for Lincoln Perry. I didn't even mean to rhyme there. It sounded good, though. Greg Burrell was 79 yards, 11.3 yards per carry for the big guy at UNLV. Really like seeing number 9 get the rock out there. He's a big barrel, man. 58. Oh, wait, no, I was right. 74 yards for Jalen Jenkins. Way late, way off the bench, not till the second half. 58 of those yards were on that back-breaking touchdown they scored to finish off the Eastern Michigan Eagles. 14.8 yards per carry for Jalen Jenkins. All 3 had a touchdown. All had yards, rushes over 20 yards. Just whatever they wanted, whenever they wanted on the ground. And you know what? We can put a bunch of gold stars on the helmets of the running backs all we want, but this is on the offensive line. They manhandled Eastern Michigan. They mauled them. They're just a bunch of monsters and bullies out there pushing them all around. I mean, you look at the freshman Brock Riker at center. There were some snaps that were a little shaky, but you see his size, you see everything out there. I mean, that's a force. And they were really doing it. And from my eye, I could be wrong here. I should go dive in and look. It seemed like they kept the starting offensive line out there for most of that game because I made a note when they switched because they switched out all 5. You know, that's when we saw it for the backups. We saw like Anthony Crease going at left tackle, Ezra Dotson-Oyetade at center, Justin DeLeon at guard, Cam Schultz at right guard. I'm forgetting the left guard as well. But there you saw them switch out 5 new guys that came in for. Oh, it was Lysander was the other guard, the big guy. Yeah, the big guy from Syracuse, who I was talking about how he possibly could be a tackle. But they have him in there at guard, big guy. Yeah, they were. I've talked about it before. Jordan Shoemaker. I've said it. He's the best offensive line coach in the Sun Belt. Look at the way he's replenished this O line after losing Nash Jones, after losing Alex Harkey, after losing some really key players. He's been able to fortify this O line, and it really set it up for them on Saturday. That run game that was propelled by that offensive line, just owning that line of scrimmage. Tight ends, 12 personnel on the first play with Blake Smith and Titus Lyons. Titus Lyons getting out there on the very first play. They had 2 tight ends, and I was ecstatic because I knew GJ Kinney had always talked about it. They didn't do it the whole game, but it was nice to see only 2 catches by tight ends, 2 to Blake Smith. A lot of great blocking by Titus Lyons, just really setting up the run and handling his job, and just seeing what they're going to do with these tight ends. Yeah, I'm always beating the table to pass the ball to tight ends, but they don't need to force it, especially in this style of offense. If you're going to use them as blockers, I totally understand that strategy with it all. And I mean, didn't see any Ty Stammy, the big guy. Definitely got to look at him on the sideline. He's as big as advertised by Blake Smith. That's a big guy, 6'7", 6'8". So excited to see him. Maybe in the red zone or something, they can get him out there. Oh, let's switch over to a little defense. But before we do that, we have a new sponsor, Turnkey Tailgate Party Providers. Turnkey Tailgate Party Providers. If you heard the last episode, you heard me talk about Turnkey Tailgate Party Providers, a Bobcat owned and operated business by two brothers, Steve and Trey Garza. Turnkey Tailgate is the premier party provider for the I-35 corridor. They're servicing Austin to San Antonio, and everything in between, including San Marcos. Rent tailgate, party trailers, tents, chairs, other outdoor equipment. They'll even set it up and take it down. 8x16 trailer with electric brakes, an RV with bathroom, air conditioning, hot and cold water. They've got TVs, receivers, coolers, chairs, whatever you need, they've got it. Check them out at turnkey-tailgate.com. That's turnkey-tailgate.com, and call them up at 833-858-4283. That's 833-858-4283 or 833-TKT-GATE. 833-TKT-GATE. And follow them on Instagram and Facebook at Turnkey Tailgate. Shout out to my guys Trey and Steve. Appreciate y'all jumping on this season. And I appreciate y'all dealing with the mid-roll ad. Let's get to the defense. Defense is a little bit of a different story than the offense. The offense looked exceptional. The defense was a little spotty in the first half. They had some issues on third down. They had some issues tackling, really just not wrapping up, throwing their shoulders at some. They'd get there and they'd make contact, but they wouldn't finish the deal and wrap their arms around them. Not a ton of pressure on Noah Kim. You know, I can think of it was pretty like late in the third quarter and into the fourth, he was really starting to get loose a little more. Not, he didn't have a great day, but he was able to get by on him just a little bit. And a lot of that was not a ton of pressure, and then also some new DBs out there. Some guys looked a little lost at times, not exactly sure where their assignment is. That feels like first game stuff. That, just a little confusion about the spot, where am I supposed to be, and things like that. But, they were able to pull it together in the fourth quarter and finish that game and have a strong second half specifically. And when those starters were in, they were cycling through a lot of guys, but when the starters were in for the defense, that's when it looked its best, in my opinion. But going forward, they've got to clean up that stuff, because they're going to have to take the pressure off this young quarterback. And I guess I didn't even really go into it that much with Brad Jackson, and I should. He didn't really throw the ball deep a whole lot. It was 8. What was his stats? Did I even read those stats to y'all earlier? Let's go back and go find our guy, Brad Jackson. 214 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, another 48 yards on 10 carries. Looked good getting loose on the ground. But really, there wasn't a ton of verticality in the game. It was, whether it was short to intermediary passes. His 2 touchdowns to Bo Sparks, the first 2 in the first quarter, it was like 15 and 16 yards on each of those, and then some shorter ones. So who knows if they were trying to limit him so that they don't put a ton on tape for UTSA. That could very well be the case. Or if they were maybe limiting him as a freshman in his first start. They just wanted to keep him comfortable, not overwhelm him right off the bat. But we didn't see a lot of vertical passing from him. We did see some strong arms. I mentioned that pass to Kylan Evans that G.J. Kinney mentioned that he probably wants back, but he was able to. It was from the opposite hash mark, throwing it to the back end zone corner, so you could see the arm strength. With a little more touch on it, and it would have been right there. And Evans was pretty guarded as well. But they're really going to need. I say that to say they really need to. The defense needs to buckle in and really help alleviate the pressure on this young quarterback. They've got to do a better job on third downs. They've got to do better tackling, get pressure on the quarterback. They did get interception. Shout out to Christopher Jones. He got a pick. Good for him. If you see our cinematic recap, the Wizard worked hard on that. It's out now. Go check it out. Texas State dominates EMU. You can see the very, very last person is Chris Jones. But let's talk about Terrence Cooks. 3 tackles, 2 TFLs, and a sack for Terrence Cooks. Great day for him coming off the bench. He didn't start the game, but he sure finished it well. He had 1 of 2 sacks on the day. Jaden Rios on a corner blitz had the other one. Traylon Payne, the other linebacker, led the day with 9 tackles for him. Cole Niels I heard the PA say his name different than how I say it. So Cole Niels, maybe I'm saying it wrong. 4 tackles off the bench for the big guy. We talked about him quite a bit. It's a big linebacker at 6'4", 245, wearing number 45 out there. On the defensive line, Joe Landry got hurt. He didn't got up real gingerly in the first half, and then I noticed he wasn't in pads in the second half. So that's something to keep an eye on. Not a ton of injuries outside of that. Maybe one other one, it seemed like, from what GJ Kinney mentioned. Quiet day from the edge, really. Not a ton of pressure. We saw Khalil, saw Kennard Snyder, saw Terry wrestle, guys we expected to get out there and get on that pass rush. Tymir Jackson as well, looking great. Tymir Jackson's mean. I like that. He was pushing folks around. That was fun to see. Lots of rotation on the D line the whole game. They're really trying to figure out what's going on that D line so they can get more pressure. They're deep. They have a lot of guys there. I think they got to figure out what guy goes in what situation. Cam Washington and Bryce Carter, the Virginia transfer, they started on the interior D line. We saw a lot of Ossie Longy, J.P. Dieter, Jordan Sanders as well on the inside. At nickel, that star position, I really liked Will Mitchell all over the place. I felt, at least from what I could see, Atwood played well as well at that position, but I really noticed Will Mitchell. Track star in high school, you could really see that speed on display. Cornerback had some bumpy moments, but overall good. Kamari Terrell got beat sometimes. Rios had a couple DPIs that kept a drive alive. But overall a decent day. Camden Grogan's now wearing number 21, listed as 11 on the depth chart. He's number 21 all season long now. Safety had to do too much cleaning up, I feel. Too many of these plays got to the third layer where they're having to make tackles, where Bobby Crosby's having to come in and Nolan's having to come in, and just too much cleaning up. I think the first 2 layers need to handle their business a little more, and it'll make it easier, because as soon as it gets to that third layer, you start to see the safeties getting more and more involved. It's nice if they come up and make a play early, but it's when it's getting past the linebackers like it was, where they were having to do a whole lot. Overall, I wasn't ecstatic about the defense, but I still stick with what I was saying in fall camp and how important this defense is going to be. They're going to need this defense to step up. It's the second year for Dexter McCoyle at defensive coordinator. He did a fantastic job his first year. I think they really need to clean up some things if they're going to exceed what they've done in the past couple seasons. Getting over 7 wins, that defense is going to be huge. Because if they are limited with a freshman quarterback, not saying Brad Jackson is limited, it's just early in his career. If they are limited with what they're trying to do with him, then you're going to need more from the defense. Because we saw the run game. You're going to need the run game to do it, and you're going to need that defense to do it. The run game stepped up. The defense needs to fall in line, because they've got some good players. Looking at, especially on that D-line, I was hyping up J.P. Dieter, and this may be too high of a comp. Keep in mind, he's a sophomore when I say this, but I look at his body type, and he looks like a taller Levi Bell, Ben Bell's older brother that was here in 2022. Just a stout defensive tackle, a D tackle that doesn't have much of a belly. They're over 250 and it's all muscle type of guy. Over 270 and it's all muscle. Big guy. So I really like that one. Let's do a Sunbelt roundup. Let's talk about the Sunbelt and what happened around. I know our guy, the Wizard, the host of Wizard Wednesday, the captain of our cinematic recaps as well. 2 angles in this one. Go check out our cinematic recap on YouTube. Win Now or Get Bent on YouTube. Subscribe, like, comment, all the good stuff. He's going to like the very first one I have to talk about in the Sunbelt roundup. ULLL. They did actually get handed that third L. They lost to Rice 14-12. Rice, you can't lose to food. Didn't the Bobcats handle Rice a couple years ago in a bowl game? I tend to remember that one. Tough break for the Raging Cajuns. They start 0-1, starting to make the Wizards' prediction that the Bobcats will finally get that Raging Cajun win in 2025. It's looking a little more realistic after that one. That's one prediction that we did on that episode that I hope I'm wrong on. I'll tell you that. Georgia State, they lost to Ole Miss. Valiant effort, though, 63-7. Just kidding. They got absolutely worked. Georgia Southern lost to Fresno State. Shout out to Fresno State, Pac-12 brethren, 42-14. ULM, nice win over St. Francis, 29-0. Arkansas State with a win over Southeast Missouri State. I didn't write the score. I don't know why, but nice. There you go. Nice to beat Southeast Missouri State. I'm sure that's an old rivalry. App State, they got the W over Charlotte, 34-11. James Madison, a win over Weber State, 45-10. South Alabama, a win over Morgan State, 38-21. Geez, JMU USA. Oh, you afraid of the FBS? What's up, guys? Troy, you too? Just kidding. We have Nichols here in a couple weeks. Troy with a win over Nichols, 38-20. Appreciate you beating them up a little bit before the Bobcats get to them on September 20th, UFCU Stadium. The next home game, more of you out there, more than 21,000 this one. We got to get those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers. We got to get those numbers up. Coastal Carolina lost to Virginia 48-7. And Old Dominion lost to Indiana 27-14. And now this last one's out of conference, but we got to throw it in there. UTSA lost to Texas A&M 42-24. They really thought they were in there in the first half, didn't they? I saw it. This happens a lot whenever a G5 plays a P4 and you see it in the first half. Oh, there's some hope. Oh, we're in there. And then the second half comes and it just gets dashed away. But there was one this week for the Sun Belt. Did I even put Southern Miss on here? It doesn't look like it. I didn't put Southern Miss, but they lost as well. They were playing a P4 themselves. I remember I was watching that one. Yeah, they were in there in the first half and it fell apart in the second half. Yes, UTSA losing to Texas A&M. Always great. Always nice to see. Always nice to have your opponent get beat up right before you see them. But you know they're going to be hungry. You know they're going to want to come after the Bobcats, especially after that shellacking that was handed to them last year. It's funny, the Bobcats are 1-5 in this series all time, but with just one win, they have reduced the overall lead that UTSA has, the scoring head-to-head lead in those 6 games. It's only like 20 points now. So if the Bobcats can get in there and get a nice 20-point win, it can be an even overall score. So that would be nice. I'm quietly rooting for that one this Saturday. Oh, I got one more for you. Are you ready? Austin Patchmaster. They are back. Our guys at Austin Patchmaster are returning for the 2025 season. They have sponsored us in some capacity in 2023, 2024, and now 2025. Drywall, sheetrock, and plaster repair, cracked walls, cracked ceilings, paint jobs, dings and dents, popcorn ceiling removal. Did you punch a hole in your wall after a Tech State loss recently? Well, whether you're moving in, moving out, or just looking to upgrade, Austin Patchmaster has you covered. Owned and operated by a Tech State grad and a true Tech State sicko, Michael Clements, Austin Patchmaster is one of our first sponsors, and they are back for the 2025 season. Check them out at austin.patchmaster.com. That's austin.patchmaster.com. And call them at 512-200-3888. That's 512-200-3888. Say win now or get bent, and they'll hit you with a nice little 10% discount. Hit them up, austin.patchmaster.com. All right, thank you to Austin Patchmaster. Check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/win-now-or-get-bent. Check us out on YouTube, Win Now or Get Bent. If you're not watching already, if you are, thank you. If you're not, get on there. Like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. Our merch site's under construction, but it'll be back. You can get the Mad Cat coming back up soon. Under construction for now. So hang in there. Hang in there with the merch. But until then, check us out on Twitter at Win Now or Get Bent. Check us out on Instagram at WNOGB. I'm actually doing stuff on there. Same with TikTok at WNOGB on TikTok, putting out some good stuff. Getting some highlights and press conferences and clips from the pod. Go check us out on TikTok. And again, like, subscribe, comment on all our platforms, Apple, Spotify. If you're an audio head, go out there and help us out with a comment on that one. Big thank you to TGC, Austin Patchmaster, BHI Hats, and Turnkey Tailgate for sponsoring us. And thank you to the Wizard, Zachary Webb, working hard on that cinematic recap. Wizard Wednesdays, check out my guy. And of course, thank you to you sickos. It's always great to run into you at Gabe's. It's great to see all the momentum that is gaining for this season. I need more of you at that game. We'll see. I'm going to be there next time, Scout Tailgate. I promise you, I'm going to be there. I wanna come out and see you guys, especially my guy Michael Clements, Austin Patchmaster. Oh, I can't wait. UTSA coming up. We got lots of good stuff for you this week. UTSA, it's a big one. Bobcats, got it. Let's hang on to it. We took it. We took the grocery cart last season. Let's hang on to it this season. All right, everybody. Until next time, win now or get bent.